All right, so we've made it to the final four.
Woohoo.
We've got awesome contestants facing off against each other. First off is seed number 1 versus seed 3. That's Martin versus Jerome. All right, so personally, I feel like once these two are up against each other, I'm facing a wall of text with Jerome. And I have to spend much more time trying to understand what it is I'm looking at with Jerome's entry. The stats, I really like them once I understood it, but I could just as easily move on from it and not give it a second thought. And there isn't anything in particular that is drawing me into it, right? Like the visualizations, they're good. I like them. Martin seems much more vibrant to me. Like this draws me in, right? Like just the basketballs, the icon of the player at the top, the color scheme is just very consistent from the beginning to end. There isn't an overload of charts. Everything has its job and it's doing it well. Like I don't have to second guess any one of these visualizations. I know what it's telling me, and through the colors, I know who's winning, who's losing. And then ultimately getting to the end where I've got a clear presentation of who is the GOAT. And I can easily see this in Martin's versus Jerome's. I have to dig in. I also have to take a look at the LinkedIn post, and then from there draw my conclusion.
Yeah, it's getting tough now. And I agree with a lot of what you said, Frank. I think Jerome had a ton of really rich context and insight in his post that I wish made it in here to kind of add that context and tell the story inside of the dashboard and arrive at his pick or his conclusion. That's one area that I think I would definitely skew towards Martin there. And I'm all about telling the story, making a data-driven argument, especially for this challenge. And I think Martin did it better in this case.
Yeah, I agree. I think Martin did a really great job, again, first defining, what success, again, was going to look like, having a story around that, and then backing it up with some clear visuals. Jerome, again, he also defined, exactly what success meant, and then used metrics and, to back up how he was evaluating each player. But again, same points that you guys have made. You had to go elsewhere, to find that context. It's not right there within the dashboard.
This one's really hard for me because I like them both so much for different reasons. I think Martin's is really good all around. And I think Jerome's has a lot of really great analysis in it and behind it with the overall submission. This is a tough matchup for me.
Okay, so on 3.
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Unanimous.
Oh.
Unanimous.
Now we're on to our next match, who is Jonathan Vanderwoord. He is C2, and he's facing Clay Cooper, who is C4. Okay, so this is a tough one to judge. We're getting towards the final rounds, and each one of these are just great. And it seems to me like they're all doing a great job of striking a balance between visuals and stats. It shouldn't be surprising as where we're at with the competition. That being said, it just seems to me that Jonathan's is a little bit more clear, and like the space usage, while it's more cramped, I think I'm pulling more information out of it, right? More contextual, more stats information. And Clay, while it's a great design as well, and that area chart is also fantastic and giving me some sort of idea what was going on with the data points through the text boxes, I think I can pick up more from Jonathan Vanderwoord's entry.
I agree. It's getting tough, but Jonathan's it's really hard to find anything wrong with Jonathan's. Great story. I love the fact that there's only a handful of numbers even shown there, yet the story comes through as clearly as if there were. I think Clay relied a little bit more on showing more data points, which is not necessarily a bad thing. But I agree. I think Jonathan's is a little bit more readable, feels a little bit more polished to me. And like just the choice of categories, breaking it down, longevity, game score, and then really just telling that story about the finals and the bottom. Like we've all talked about how much we love that visual at the bottom. I haven't seen anyone do it better. Just showing not only the championships that LeBron won, but the ones that he appeared and didn't win, just adds a really valuable twist to that visual too. So
yeah, no, I mean, those are all great points, and same kind of camp. Again, looking at these two side by side, we've talked a lot about the pros of both of them, and again, I think Jonathan, his is very clean and clear. It's a fantastic story. I love the creativity with the visuals, for all the reasons that we've talked about.
I do want to add that one thing to take in consideration too, right? One thing that's at the back of my mind is that outside of the competition, this is what Jonathan does, like for a living, right? And it's interesting that we kind of have someone that is a student of analytics that's here competing against him, which I think speaks to how talented Clay is at this.
It's a great point, Frank.
Impressive.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I would say that, I hear Chris say this a lot, where one of the hardest things to do is to figure out what not to include, right? Or how to include it most impactfully, right? And I think that this is where we have a really good, we got two really great submissions, but, there is definitely just a little bit more polish on Jonathan's part.
All right, on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Go.
Jonathan takes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Wow. That was a really tough one.
Yeah. So the finals are set. Martin versus Jonathan.